Abby for a second.
Don't have parsley.
Renee, are you greeter tonight?
No.
Oh, you're doing a wonderful job.
She's always the greeter.
Yeah.
I just like to say hi to people.
I know, it's so nice.
I do it in person too.
Yeah.
It's going to be an occupational hazard for you once you assume the presidency, right? That's a good thing, a good whatever the upside is, right? A job perk. So we're excited. Shabbat shalom, everybody. We're always delighted to be together on this auspicious Shabbat when we celebrate Shabbat and usher in a new day of rest and reflection and renewal that helps us shift right into.
You want the
right into past life as well, and it's from one holy to the next is a delightful way to move, and we're looking forward to being with all of you tonight. Hopefully, also on second night Seder if it works for you, and hope that this Shabbat will get you into the mood, as it were, and that you've had your opportunity to maybe do some extra cleaning. I said just before some of you came on that there's a cute meme that's circulating that says Googling chametz does not equate to having done a search for chametz. So that does not, you don't get to just say, I Googled it and I'm done. We're actually supposed to have looked in every corner, right, with a feather and a candle, and made sure that our houses are prepared appropriately, right, that we have moved into that space where we can really enter into this season of freedom and spring and hope, with a sense of cleanliness, right, and hopefulness as we move forward. So let's celebrate Shabbat together. Let's lift our voices in song. Let's light candles and bring in light, and let's share Shabbat together.
Shabbat shalom. Let's start with the nigun. Shabbat shalom. We're about to start with our candle lighting.
I wonder, Renee, our greeter par excellence, if you would read this for your spirit of us.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Thank you. And we'll continue with the bracha together. We'll invite you to kindle your Shabbat lights and bring in the warmth and the light and the glow into your Shabbat home and into your Shabbat hearts as we pray together. Cantor Braun, I think you are still muted.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Continue together, we'll invite you, please, as we turn to Kiddush, the benediction and praise of God for the gift of Shabbat that really marks us as Israel as unique and in body and spirit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher girshanu b'mitzvotav v'rotzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hilonu, zikra lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vonu v'charta, ve'atanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekodesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim, l'chaim.
I am, and please be seated. Just a quick word of reminder. You might be seeing the live transcript across the bottom of your screen. We hope that that is a good addition for you. If, however, you choose not to use it, if you click on the bottom, for most of you, it should be on the bottom of your screen where it says live transcript or CC, and click on that arrow, and you should be able to hide the feed across the bottom if you so choose, and then you can pull it up as you need, okay, or as you want. Let's continue as we how beautiful the day of Shabbat is.
Ma yafe hayom Shabbat shalom. Ma yafe hayom Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Ma yafe hayom. Shabbat shalom. Ma yafe hayom. Shabbat shalom.
Just trying to correct what we think might be some feedback on my computer. You'll forgive me, I am using a loaner computer while mine is being fixed, so it's not quite as good, but hope you'll forgive the static. Maybe it's a message coming from on high, who knows, who knows. Let's continue in prayer together. As we offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love, we offer thanks and blessing, O God. Let's continue as we turn to the singing of the Chadodi, the coming together of the bride and the groom, of Israel and God.
L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, yishmiyanu el hamiyachad. Adonai echad, Shema echad, l'shem u'letiferet v'litchila. L'chadodi לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. וחדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדונייך עלייך נגלה. לחדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. חדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, וחדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. חדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
And please be seated as we continue. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even in unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence.
יתקדש ויתקדש מרבה, בעמדי ברכירותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייך ובימיך וכיידך בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרמה ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקדושה בריחו. לילה מן כה ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונאמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
Let's continue with our call to worship. We'll invite you, please, as you rise, to rise in readiness and to rise in preparedness, not just for Shabbat, not just for Pesach, but to come together in community and to pray and to hope and to be with one another. So we'll invite you, please, in body or in spirit, to rise for our call to worship.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Yalalalai, 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 yalalalai.
We continue now with our praise for God, from whom the evening flows, as we say, this is an hour of change. With it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works in the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated as we continue together with the Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when nations will be one and at peace. And shall we rejoice as Israel did sailing on the shores of the sea. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions and to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai haPores Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
We continue with singing of Shamru, the South African melody that we're singing very often. Please join me. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם כששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We'll continue now with the Amidah. We'll invite you, please, in body or in spirit, to rise and to step forward into prayer and see. It's a beautiful slide, Cantor Braun. There is a beautiful passage in our Siddur, which actually reads that every word of one's prayer should be like a rose, not a tulip, but a rose, but we'll go with it, right? A rose that is picked from a bush. One gathers rose or tulip upon rose or tulip until a bouquet is formed and can be offered to God as a beautiful blessing. This is Nachman of Bratslav, so it could not be a more perfect slide, right? That we each bring one of our flowers into the bouquet of prayer to God, and we take that time and this moment to rise in body or in spirit to offer our bouquet.
Adonai sefada tiftachu fi gidilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imatenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Gibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh HaKol, v'Zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imachot, מבגאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד חג השם, מחלקי חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן עד הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחייך הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. And please be seated as we continue together. Adonai, our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shchinato l'Tzion. Blessed are you whose divine presence is felt again in Zion. And we continue now with Ratzeh. Please join me. Ratzeh Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael utfilatam be'ahava tekabel utehi le'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha Baruch atah Adonai she'odcha levadcha be'yira na'avo. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha l'chana elahodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. Ki atah melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atah melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. V'tov einecha lemanech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. Tesim Le'olam. Tesim Le'olam.
Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. We'll take a few moments, each of us, intentionally, with kavanah, with our hearts directed towards prayer, meditation, and in silence. Turn our hearts and our prayers to those in need of healing, of wholeness, of strength, of courage, of tenderness, of care around them. As we say, Mishaberach Abotenu v'Imotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel Baleah Hu Yivarech et HaCholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah bless and heal where possible, give strength and the best of what each person needs to those who are struggling at this time. We're holding in our prayers Shana Esther Bat Rachel, Chayanecha Bat Rivalea, Katriel Parachia Ben Hershel Lazer V'Shoshana, Sally Graff, Sarah Bat Abraham V'Sarah, William Fawcett Jr., Alan Skirker, Laura Braun, Barbara DeCario, Miriam Bat Ella, Stephen Brent, Rini Feingold, Meredith Cabanis Ader, Reverend Gordon Webster, Mary Paikunka, Irving Manis, Ralph Bookbinder, Masha Batsheva, Christine Yang, Ziad Wade, Greg Novozenitz, Susan Sultan Tobias, Kim Stanger Delisle, Marjorie Shire, Patrick Dardy, and Abigail Bat Yershan. Let's also add to our prayers all of our essential workers, all of our teachers, all those whom we meet face to face on a daily basis. As some of you know, I got my second shot today. I'm feeling a little peakish, but thankful that I have an immune system that's making me feel peakish, I hope. And I am in awe at the workers in those places who person after person they see and greet with a beautiful countenance, and who each person is treated as an individual, and the people who snake up and down the aisles for those 15 minutes that you're waiting, who just check and say, hey, how's it going? Are you okay? Let's hold all of them and all of those who are up front and who are tending to our wellness. Let's hold all of them in our prayers. And let's also add those who are in your hearts. Please take a moment and unmute yourself and share those names of those who should be included in our prayers.
Gabriel Berger,
Don Crino,
Mark
Trudell.
Friedman, Elizabeth Friedman.
Trudell Shelley.
Sandra Griffin, Lois Batonlik.
Yoni Fine, Andrea Reynolds, Barbara Fox.
Dick Boone, Mike File.
Amy Gasperi, David Altabelli.
Connie von Pearlstein.
Oh. Joel Brill, Judy Weiner, Richard Jaffe, Leslie Novak Frank, Patty Newman.
Let's include in our prayers those who have been added to the chat box as well. Please, would you take a moment, make sure that you are again muted. As we say, may the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health, where possible to be restored, for their strength and their patience and their well-being to be restored. As we say, for them to have enough of what they best need at this time. May God send renewal of body and spirit as we join together in saying, Amen.
Amen.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imatenu mekor Abraham lavatenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Together we say, Amen. This evening marks Shabbat Hagadol. It is the Shabbat just before Pesach. So I want to share these words about author Marge Piercy, who as a little girl, when her grandmother set a special place at the Passover Seder, she did so for Marge's cat, Blackie, we are told. He was a very dignified cat, Piercy remembers, and Blackie sat quietly in his chair while he went through the entire Magi, the entire retelling of the Passover story. And Grandma told me that when nobody else was here, that Blackie actually ate with a knife and fork. I never saw him do it, but I believed her and wondered why he wouldn't eat that way for me, she wrote. The warm memory of Blackie and of her grandmother creating the annual Seder menu in her small Cleveland apartment made Passover Piercy's most favorite holiday. And I think so many of us can relate and have warm, our own, but warm memories from Passover. So despite my chosen career choice, I remember as a child thinking that Seders were actually endless, and I couldn't understand why everyone else wasn't just as eager to get to the hunt for the afikomen as I was. I had one set of grandparents who hosted our family Seders, and they lived in a house, and my other set lived in an apartment. The smaller spaces in the apartment led to the erroneous assumption that I would find the afikomen before my older, more skilled brothers, and well before the unskilled and haphazard approach of my younger cousins. We would search and search and search unsuccessfully, often forgetting that my Zeta's most favorite hiding place was actually under his kippah, or in his breast pocket. And decades later, I can still remember the joy of Passover through this one revelatory moment. A hug, actually, at just the right moment and at the right angle would actually disclose to us that that was the year that he had it in his breast pocket. Passover has been a favorite holiday for many of us. And as we head into our second year, it's hard to believe our second year of pandemic Passover, as it has been called, we strive to really hold on to our family and childhood memories or our newly created traditions, along with the awe-inspiring story of our ancestors' redemption from slavery and the birth of the Jewish people, inviting us both to remember the harshness of slavery and oppression, and also to delight in the dignity of freedom and the strength of our Jewish identity. It is this both and moment with which we are familiar, one where we recognize and hold gently as we really head into Passover, the both and nature of this time. Grateful to be here, grieving those who are not, in a state of continued disbelief, and at the same time, with an emerging sense of hope that the lives we once knew will be different, but will return, please God, before too long. So at our Seders, we will dip the karpas into salt water to remind us of the bitterness of our tears and the promise of renewal, the parsley. It is another both and we will ask ourselves this year in particular, if dipping into past that bitterness helps make the present taste sweeter, if it helps us connect to our ancestors' story of uncertainty, pain, and doubt in an altogether new way this year in particular. And as we go through the rituals and the readings of the Seder, and find ourselves perhaps missing those who are customarily with us and whom we are missing at all times, we take the unexpected and perhaps unwanted time to explore the meaning of the words B'chol Dor V'Dor. In every generation, the task is ours to see ourselves as if we had come out of Egypt, and we can ask, what does coming out of a confined and narrow place look like? Truly, what does that look like for us? As adults recounting this story, do we forget to tap into our imagination? Do we just turn page after page and forget to imagine the awe-inspiring nature of our story? What is the power of imagination? Why is it important to feel a personal connection to our Judaism? And how does taking the perspective of others, always important, always germane to Pesach, but germane entirely right now with all that is going on around us, both on the micro level and on the macro level? How does taking the perspective of others benefit us? So seeking to connect ourselves to the trek of the Israelites, we pause for just a moment and consider their fear, their doubt, and their tremendous courage using the work of the author Marge Piercy, whose grandmother had the cat Blackie as our guide. So I want to actually share, I want you to be able to see the words that she wrote, because some of us learn better seeing than we do hearing. So I'm hoping that you can see this. Yes, Cantor, can you see all right? Yeah, okay. This is a passage. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. You can also make it bigger on your own screens if you go to your view options. This is called Magid from our story, and this is by Marge Piercy. The courage to let go of the door, the handle, the courage to shed the familiar walls whose very stains and leaks are comfortable as little moles of the upper arm, stains that recall a feast. A child's naughtiness, a loud blistering storm that slapped up the roof hard, pouring through. The courage to abandon the graves dug into the hill, the small bones of children and the brittle bones of those of the old whose marrow hunger had stolen. The courage to desert the tree planted and only begun to bear. The riverside where promises were shaped. The street where the empty pots were broken. The courage to leave the place whose language you learned as early as your own, whose customs, however dangerous or demeaning, bind you like a halter you have learned to pull inside to move your load. The land fertile with the blood spilled on it, the roads mapped and annotated for survival. The courage to walk out of the pain that is known into the pain that cannot be imagined, mapless, walking into the wilderness, going barefoot with a canteen into the desert, stuffed in the stinking hold of a rotting ship, sailing off the map into dragons' mouths, Cathay, India, Serbia, Golden Medina, leaving bodies by the way like abandoned treasure. So they walked out of Egypt, so they bribed their way out of Russia under loaves of straw, so they steamed out of the bloody, smoking charnel house of Europe on overload freighters, forbidden all ports. Out of the pain into death or freedom or a different painful dignity, into squalor and politics. We Jews are all born of wanderers, with shoes under our pillows and a memory of blood that is ours raining down. We honor only those Jews who changed tonight, those who chose the desert over bondage, who walked into the strange and became strangers and gave birth to children who could look down on them standing on their shoulders for having been slaves. We honor those who let go of everything but freedom, who ran, who revolted, who fought, and who became other by saving themselves. It is a beautiful and powerful piece by Marge Piercy. I encourage you to read it as we continue into this holiday. And tonight we remember their plight, their courage to let go, to be uncertain, to be sad and hopeful all at once, and to become themselves as we became and become a people. So tonight we warmly remember our Seder tables for the feelings they evoke as we head into Pesach, for the recounting of history and the imagining they engender, for the freedom from slavery we celebrate, and as Andrew Rayfield, president of the Hebrew Union College, reminds us, for the choice to use our freedom to form as a people, committing to a shared life of meaning and purpose in pursuit of the good and the sacred, the beautiful, the right, and the just. And we say together, Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Amen.
We'll continue now as we turn to our concluding prayers to the Elenu, and we'll ask you please to join us as we rise and share the Elenu together.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא סרגי ארצות ולא שמנה כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו כל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך
Let us turn our thoughts to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days and those who died at the season in years past. We open our hearts as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. During the period of Shloshim, these last 30 days, we are mourning the loss of Howard Michael Seidel, brother of Grace Losowitz, and Eileen Kaplan, cousin of Arlene Weisenberg, Joan Harth, mother of Michael Harth, Simon Brightman, father of Blanche Fenster and husband of Josephine. We're mourning the loss of Michael Rutberg, uncle of David Rutberg, and Turk Morel, husband of BJ Mann. Today marks a yahrzeit, an anniversary of passing for Sandra Baxter, Otto Burko, Jeanette Brill, Robert Burton, Frederick Delheim, Andreas Felder, Bob Fisher, Pauline Fox, Susan Frischman, Ida Greenfield, Molly Gross, Pestia Gorbeck, Rose Helper, Henry Cantor, Roberta King, Marvin Cooker, Mildred Lappin, Mildred Michelin, Rachel Morrison, Rose Morris Pressburg, Julia K. Rosenfeld, Muriel Rothstein, Lou Schwartz, Al Shalofsky, and Susan Spector. If there are names that you would add to either list or names that are better spoken aloud by you, please would you unmute yourself now, share that name aloud with us, or add that loved one into the chat box.
Roger
Carmela
Kornbach,
Figaro.
Mark Eisenberg,
Tyshawn Jones.
Daniel Prude,
Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing as we join together in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadol v'yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv b'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya. V'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'Kudesha B'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. V'hei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved as we join together in saying, Amen. And please be seated. Please be seated. I'll share with you some announcements at this time. As you know, Passover is coming. I hope you know, and hope you have place to be either digitally online or with those in your own home, or those with whom it is safe to be at this time. We hope that you'll join us also on Sunday night for second night Seder. But before we get to that, tomorrow morning is Torah study at 9:15, and then Shabbat morning services at 10:30. No religious school on Sunday morning, but we do have on Sunday morning our annual joint Passover morning service with Brit Kodesh. We hope that you'll join us at 10:30 for our time together with our sister congregation, and then at 6 p.m. for our congregational Seder. There will be, you'll see on our website, there's some Passover music and some supplemental information on our beautiful website that Karen McCauley and so many others of you have worked on, and you will see that information on the website as well. On Monday evening at 8 p.m., there is the continuation of the Hebrew decoding prep class. And we hope you'll join us next week again for Erev Shabbat services with birthday blessings. And then next Saturday morning, so a week from tomorrow, our Passover morning service with Yisker Memorial Prayers. That's Saturday, April 3rd at 10:30 a.m. No Torah study a week from tomorrow morning, but our Yisker Memorial service. So we hope that you will join us for each of those moments. and want to remind you that that for the rest of this month, not so many days left, but we have our March Padness in partnership with National Council for Jewish Women and Temple Sinai's Women's Chavurah. They invite you to the virtual pad kit making party, and you can go onto our website to make donations or be in touch with Monica Katzel as well. Also want to remind you to note on our website that Sunday, April 11th is our next Speaking of Race opening up to listening, acting, and healing session, and you'll find information there as well. I see that some of you have asked about the poem by Marge Piercy. So it is called Maggid, M-A-G-G-I-D, just from our Haggadah, and you should be able to find it online. It's Marge Piercy is the author's name, and it's a beautiful edition. It's also found in our new CCAR Haggadah. It's just come into print, which is just beautiful. I mentioned it, I think, last week as well. Well worth having in your collection, and can be found in there as well. Not in time for tomorrow or Sunday, but you should be able to find Maggid by Marge Piercy online as well. Any announcements from where you sit, or anything, any celebrations or news that we should know about? Everybody's ready for dinner tonight. I know that everybody has their challah, and they're going to eat it outside, right? Because technically we're not supposed to have challah tonight in our house because Shabbat morphs right into Passover. So the workaround that some use is to have their challah outside. Right? They make motzi outside, and others use actually egg matzah tonight as a workaround as well, because we're not yet commanded to partake in the eating of matzah. So the way the rabbis figured it out in the Talmud was to have egg matzah and not plain matzah. We're gonna trust that you make the decision that's right for you, and we'll continue together as we make motzi and do service together.
So, Rabbi, when is the last time you can eat chametz? By 10 o'clock in the morning? That's the cutoff?
It depends on how you hold, right? Some people say noon, but really technically, because we're moving into Shabbat, for most people, it is gone at this point. But technically, it is noon before, most observe, not technically, but noon before the Chag. But the bump of Shabbat and holiday together make it tricky.
Thank you. Well, let's say the bracha together, the blessing before Challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Okay, so no Challahs this night. We'll go to
I didn't mean to scare anybody. Sorry. Do what you're gonna do. Do what you're gonna do.
Okay, the picture, take a good look for a whole week. I was thinking we can finish with Adirhu as we anticipate Passover and Seders and our Exodus from Egypt. Let's all join in Adirhu. Adirhu, Adirhu, Yimne Beita Bekarov, Bimhera, Bimhera, Beyameinu Bekarov, El Bnei, Bnei Betcha Bekarov, God of might, God of right, you give all glory, your soul praise in these days, as in ages hurry, when we hear year by year freedom's wondrous story. Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to everybody. We wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a sweet healing and liberating Passover in all the senses of the word. It offers us such a good opportunity for hope. There's light shining, and next year we pray in good health and in person. And we wish you a Shabbat Shalom and an early Chag Sameach. And invite you please to unmute yourself and say hi to everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Home, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for a lovely service.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Liz, I like your background.
Nice flowers.
I finally figured out how to make
Happy
it work.
Passover.
That's
really
pretty, Les.
pretty. God bless.
Happy Passover, everybody. Have a good
Yes.
week.
Shabbat
Oh,
shalom.
Have a
Chag
great
Sameach.
Oh,
Passover.
Hag Sameach.
Someone else.
Thanks, Bye-bye.
Hag Sameach.
Some people
well.
really posted and isolated. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Nice to see everyone.
yes, you too. We'll see you
Shabbat
when.
shalom.
Yes.
Good Shabbos. Stay well. Enjoy your Seders.
Yes. Happy Passover.
See you. Some of you Sunday night. That'll be the Seder. It'll be Sunday.
Yes. Can't wait to see you guys back on Sunday
That'll be
and
so
tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll